What's going on, everybody? Jake Wilson here from KPD Sports Media, back at it again with another episode. I'm alongside one of my good friends, Gregg Gantt. Greg, how you doing today, bro?
Good. Happy to be here.
Man, I'm happy to have you. We got a pretty interesting show for you guys today. This is going to be a basketball extravaganza. I know that the NFL draft is on tonight, but man, Greg and I both love basketball, and there's just been so much going on around the world. So we're just going to do our thing, talk about the NBA, talk about the portal, talk about the WNBA, and then who knows, maybe we'll have an interview here or there, depending.
We shall see.
We shall see. First up, dude, we got to talk about the portal.
Yes, sir.
I mean, holy moly, there's so many big names going around in the portal. And, you know, you're a product of the portal as well, Greg. Obviously, started your career at Providence, went to state, now you're here at UNC Asheville. I just want to know from you what your views are when it comes to the portal and, like, how it affects the sport itself, but also how is it benefiting the sport itself?
I think it's had a great impact on college basketball, probably good and bad. But for me, I would say it was more positive. When you're being recruited by so many schools, it's kind of hard to decipher, the good from the bad, or who's selling you real from the fake, because, like, they're selling you on something. They're trying to get you to believe and commit in their school. So everyone is going to sound good, especially at the high major Power 5 level. Everyone has money. Everyone has resources. So it's hard. It's a difficult decision to choose what school you want to play for.
Yeah.
And in my standpoint, the portal was everything I kind of honestly asked for. Coming out of Providence my sophomore year, I wanted to change the scenery. I was very far away from home. I wasn't really happy with my basketball situation, and transfer portal just allowed me to come back home to North Carolina, play at NC State, play in the ACC, just give my family opportunity to come see me play. And I just think it was a good move for me. And even then, it wasn't everything, nothing is perfect, but even going into the portal the second time, I think, I made another solid decision in coming here to UNC Asheville. I'm around, the coaches and players that, we like truly care for each other, and the culture in the locker room and honestly around Asheville was just different, so yeah. For me, it's just been very beneficial in continuing my basketball career.
So when you were, getting recruited out of high school, you obviously committed to Providence, but what other schools were you looking at?
So I finished with over 30 plus Division I offers. My final three that I would say, though, was the University of Florida, University of Texas, and Providence.
Okay. Well, I mean, I hope you don't mind me asking this, but how do you think your career would have panned out if you would have went to another school like that?
I don't know. I don't know. Now looking back on it, I wish I would have just took my official visits. I was one that I was kind of influenced by kind of the people that were around me. Yeah. And, my mother, she loved Ed Cooley, just, his energy and just the way he was just so, like, relatable to her. I was kind of sold after kind of my first official, and I canceled my official to Texas and Florida. And I do regret that alone, just because I should have just went and seen what they had to offer. Like, Florida was playing LSU and football that weekend, and, kind of just the atmosphere.
Yeah,
Providence
dude
doesn't have any football, and I just hear so many good things about Austin, Texas. But, I mean, everyone's route is different. Everything happens for a reason. And the coach that was recruiting me, Mike Davis or Mike White, I think that was his name. Mike White was recruiting me from Florida, and he ended up losing that job a couple years after I committed. And plus, like, there was another guy in my class, Scotty Lewis, who we were kind of, ranked, like, similar, like, in position. And when he committed there, it was kind of like, that was a spot that, I thought it was for me. And Texas, I don't know, I had formed a really good relationship with Shaka Smart and the coaches down there. I really wish I would have went and saw what they had to offer, but, like I said, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, man, 100%. You know, I'm glad that you're here at UNC Asheville because if not, we would have been making this podcast right now. But you know, let's talk about the portal right now, and it's huge in college football, but it's also huge in college basketball. You have players who are following where their coach goes because, you know, there's so many coaching changes that go along in college basketball. But you also have players who are starters at these Power 5 conferences who are having good seasons. But for some reason, you know, maybe there's something going on behind the scenes and, you know, they just need to change the scenery. But I just wanted to know, like, what jumps out to you about the portal here in 2024 for next season, and what players do you think can make a huge impact right away at their new school?
There's a lot of names that jump out to me. One is the Jeremy Roach from Duke to Baylor.
It's huge.
I think that's a big move. You know, they refer to Baylor as God University, and Roach is a killer. You know, he's proven that year after year in the ACC. I think that's going to be a big get. I like Mays bringing Golden over to Michigan as well. I think Golden is one of the best bigs in the country, to be honest, and I think he proved that. You know, just throughout Florida Atlantic's non-conference schedule last year, it wasn't a team that they played against where, like, you was like, man, like, you could tell that, you know, the Power 5 or the high major team, like, affects his game. I think that he's a really good player. There's honestly a lot of guys. The portal is just so flooded. It's kind of you lose track of certain guys, and it's tough. I think Ballo at Indiana,
huge.
Again, one of the best bigs in the country.
Yeah.
AJ Storr from Indiana at Kansas. I'm really big on his game. I think he's just very efficient, prototypical type of wing. From, you know, what the NBA is looking for. You know, there's countless guys, man.
Countless guys. Yeah. And, you know, we got to talk about AJ Storr because last year at Wisconsin, like, that dude was hooping.
Yeah.
He single-handedly beat Purdue in the Big Ten tournament.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's been to 7 schools in 7 years, counting high school.
Oh, wow.
So high school, he went to a new high school every single year, starts his career at St. John's in college, goes to Wisconsin, now he's at Kansas. I think this is a very underrated transfer because when you see what they have on paper next year, Kansas could be the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
And Hunter Dickinson is coming back. And I think with a healthy Hunter Dickinson, you get AJ Storr out there. Holy moly. I mean, Bill Self has himself a good team last year.
The bigs taking over.
They are taking over.
Did you see Eddie Lampkin to Syracuse?
Yes,
like,
dude.
What?
Yes.
You know what? That's another. Syracuse have made a lot of big moves this offseason. I think the addition of Jair Davis from Delaware is just like a perfect fit. You know, it's just big wing, skilled, athletic, and they're bringing in a lot of guys. Like, college basketball is honestly changed forever with this transfer portal.
Yeah, and you know, you brought it up about Ballo going to Indiana, but you also get Cannon Carlisle from Stanford. You get Miles Rice from Washington State, who looked very promising against Drake in the NCAA tournament. I think Indiana is the team to beat next year. Now, here's the thing. Last year, I said that shit because they get Khalil Ware, who it was a dog.
Yeah.
But last year, I said that shit, and they were not good. And who knows? Maybe it's a Mike Woodson problem. Yeah. But you get also a top 10 recruit in the country as well going to Indiana. I think they're going to be pretty scary next year. Another name that kind of jumped out to me was Jonas Adu. I saw him play when I was in high school. God, I forget what school he went to. But I was actually announcing a tournament that he played in, and I remember watching. I was like, damn, he's pretty nice. But right now, the crystal ball shows him potentially going to Baylor. Yeah. And, man, if that's true, picking up Jeremy Roach and Jonas Adu, man, they're doing some good shit over there. Scott Drew is doing something at Baylor. God, there's just so many freaking names, dude. Tyrese Hunter.
Yep.
Transferring to Memphis, gonna go to what is it, Penny Hardaway?
I don't know what's going on at Texas. They're losing Dylan Mitchell as well.
Dylan Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Those and even last year, I think the guy that transferred from Texas to Kansas, he got in trouble this year and didn't even play.
I do want to bring up the names that have not yet committed.
Yeah.
And where you think they could potentially fit the best, or what team needs a player like this.
Gotcha.
First up on the list, we got to talk about John L. Davis. I mean, that dude is a dog.
Yeah.
He was one of the
the goods.
leading players in that FAU run 2 years ago. Or, whatever. Yeah, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. It's weird saying that. Obviously, not the year he wanted this year, losing to Northwestern in the first round. He chucked up an ugly shot. He was trying. When I saw him shoot that, I knew he was trying to be in the March Madness greatest moments highlights of all time. But
it's the undeniable belief you have in yourself, though. You have to have it. If that shot goes in, we're not having the same conversation.
No, we're not. And who knows if he even transfers.
Right.
But as of right now, I mean, obviously the favorite should be him going to follow Dusty May to Michigan. But he has a lot of talent. And I think that a lot of Power 5 schools could be needing a guy like John L. Davis. So I was wondering if there's a school that you think that he would best fit, or a team that you think needs him.
Right off the top of my head, I don't think that there is a team that I can just point out and say, I mean, shoot, if I was talking about a team that needs any type of help, we could talk about Louisville. Louisville. Yeah. I think John L. Davis can go and play in the ACC and be productive. And at a school like that, usually they bring in guys that are, three-way scorers, just multiple weapons in general. I think if we talk about conference, I think that the ACC probably be a good conference for him. He could probably play in the SEC. It's a little bit more physical and, athleticism in that league. But I think, a lot of the guys from FAU's team, I think that they proved that they could play at a high level in any conference. I think that one of his backcourt mates just committed to Florida. I forget his name too.
Elijah
Martin. Yeah.
Elijah Martin.
I think that's a big get for Florida. And I think that Florida, even last year, they did a great job in the portal. And I think that what is it, Storm or something like that? The coach's name. I think he's doing a pretty good job there and getting talent in there. And even last year, I think that they played pretty well to be kind of like under. I don't even know the word for it, but kind of at the beginning of the year, they didn't have too much preseason hype or anything like that. And I think throughout the season, they kind of proved to be one of the better teams in NCAA this year.
Let's switch gears a little bit.
Let's do it.
Gregg Osibor, Utah State, Mountain West Player of the Year. I don't believe in him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But when I saw him matched up against Purdue, now granted, it's Purdue. Mm-hmm. But when you saw him matched up against Purdue, he turned into nothing. Right. Nothing. So I'm wondering if he should withdraw his name from the portal and go back to Utah State. Obviously, we saw that the Mountain West was overhyped last year. They get 6 teams in the tournament. I think that Gregg Osibor is not a great player. He's a solid player. He's number 2 ranked on 247 Sports in the transfer portal. If I'm him, 6'8" center, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I won't even pretend to act like I know who this guy is. I'm not going to lie. He's probably ranked second 247 for a reason because, whatever he did last season, I don't know this guy. But what I do know is that if Zach Edey was guarding him in that game, that is a hard matchup for anyone. Yeah. Being a 6'8" center, again, is hard for anyone, you know, but I probably wouldn't make or break, his skill set and his game just off of that one game, especially against a force like Zach Edey. But, I would have to kind of refresh. I'm not familiar with your game. I'm sorry. Yeah. But
I'm sorry, Gregg Osibor. I'm sorry.
I won't bash you, because I don't, I'm not familiar with your game. But, maybe later on I could probably.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe you transfer to a Power 5 school and you watch him next year.
Right.
But I want to bring this up because you brought up an interesting topic. Mm-hmm. So the Zach Edey hate.
Yeah.
Okay. I've had people, because I'm a Purdue fan, just text me constantly. Purdue is winning every single fucking game except the championship. In every single game, I'm getting texts from people. Oh, Zach Edey's not shit. Zach Edey would be working at McDonald's if he was 4 inches shorter. Like, I want to know truly from a collegiate basketball player, do you think he's overhyped?
I don't. This tournament run, Zach Edey kind of earned more of my respect. because he's hated on a lot. And I mean, I guess that's life. Whenever you do things well, people are going to have something to say. Whenever you do things wrong, people are going to have things to say. But I think he's done a good job of kind of like taking that and turning that into fire, turning that into fuel to his fire. I think if you've watched Zach Edey from the time that he stepped, on Purdue's campus to now, you can tell he's made a significant jump every year. His touch around the rim. I mean, he's 7'4", but he's shooting jump hooks at the logos or near free throw line. That's still not an easy shot to make. And I don't know if it was the game before. In the Final Four, or I don't know, who did they play? NC State. At the beginning of the national championship game, Edey just looked unstoppable,
Yeah.
and it was it's hard to withstand, of course, with a powerhouse like UConn, but like you can't deny the work he's put into his game. You can't deny what you see. That's a force. Like I don't know. I don't see what other people see as a basketball player.
Yeah.
Someone who's that big and able to control their body at that size and that weight. Like people don't understand how hard that is to do, especially at an elite level. And to be that big and to have that type of wind and to be able to play as many minutes as he does, that's impressive, man. So you don't have any Edey hate from me over here. I promise you won't.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's good to hear from you because again, it frustrates me so much, dude. Because you have legit college basketball analysts talking about, oh, Zach Edey doesn't deserve the hate. Zach Edey's that guy. Like I listen to the Field of 68 every week, and every single time I listen to them, they're always talking about how Zach Edey is the best player in the country or a top player in the country. He doesn't deserve the hate. Oh, Zach Edey's 7'4". He's just big and tall. Dude, there's so many players who are over 7 foot and do not have the footwork like Zach Edey. They don't have the ability to shoot the hook like Zach Edey and the touch of Zach Edey and the free throw percentage of Zach Edey.
Right.
You know what I mean? The fouling shit, okay, yeah, sometimes he gets calls. But when you're 7'4", 300 pounds, you're inevitably going to get fouled because people don't know how to guard you.
Exactly.
It's going to like for example, when you guys played against what's his name? Is it Alex Zavala? Yeah, for Longwood.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest players I think in the Big South.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, did you have to match up against him?
Yeah, I
when
did.
Someone's that big,
it's almost like he's cheating. Because like I ain't gonna lie, in the conference championship, like there was times where and you have a great point. When you have a guy that's that big and that's 7 foot, you're going to get fouled, and refs are not going to call it every single play because literally, like, you get hit every single play. The game is going to take 3 hours if you really call every foul. Yeah. So these guys, these taller guys, they're at an advantage, but they're also at a disadvantage as well. Like, you see it. Even like guys like LeBron, the bigger, stronger you are, the less calls you're going to get. Like Zapala. There was times where we got him to miss one time, and if someone got a hand on a rebound or if he got his own rebound back, it's tough to make those guys miss twice in a row. Like, when you're jumping and you're 7 feet and you have long arms, Zapala was literally jumping and just dropping the ball in the goal. Like, there's almost nothing that you could do about it, especially like a guy my size. Like I'm 6'7", 6'8", but compared to a guy like that who's like 7 foot and athletic as well,
and he's big, dude.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
Yeah, and it's tough, and it's almost like you're cheating when you have a big that is skilled, at that size. It's tough. It's tough.
So let's transition a little bit, talk about the NBA. Obviously, we're in the playoffs right now, but I do want to bring up the draft stock here. So right now, the projected number 1 and 2 picks are both from France. What is it? Czar? What the fuck is his name?
I don't even know. I just keep hearing. All I hear is France.
Those two boys from France. Yeah. That's all I'm hearing, dude.
The league is going international. That's what I keep hearing. So I mean, we'll see.
I hate to continue to talk about Zach Edey, but I do want to talk about the NBA draft and what team you think he will fit at, as well. When do you see him getting drafted? I
keep hearing that because I watch so much college basketball, I I kind of miss out on a lot of the NBA news and the latest with those type of things. But I do keep hearing just in my basketball talks or conversations I have with people that the draft, this is a weaker draft. Usually in the past couple years, we've seen a lot of the younger 18, 19-year-old guys get picked in the first round because they have the what they say the highest ceiling, the highest potential. So they want to get the guys younger to develop them. So by the time they're 20, 21, 22, they have a guy that's playing like he's been in the league 5 years, So I don't know this year how many young guys that are really on the brink of, being those lottery picks or the first round. But honestly, I've seen some good – I played with good guys that just didn't get drafted. Like when I was at Providence, I played with one of the best players in college basketball of the year, and David Duke didn't get drafted, got called right after the draft. Even Terquavion Smith at NC State.
He's a hooper,
man,
dude. Killer
the entire year. His freshman year, sophomore year. It wasn't a team that he didn't go at. Even if he didn't have a good shooting night, like you could tell he was that, and he didn't get drafted. And to me, he was a younger guy. So you honestly don't know. A guy like Edey, I don't know if they. I mean, he's a great player, but I don't know if you. I wouldn't even want to call it waste a draft pick on him, but he's a guy that is going to get an opportunity and get called by tons of organizations and teams after the draft if he doesn't get drafted. And Edey's standpoint, it's going to be hard making that transition to college to the league because, just nowadays bigs have to be able to stretch the floor. They have to be able to shoot it. And until he proves that, I think he, even last year, you see Drew Timme, Oscar Tshiebwe, guys like that, some of the best bigs in the country don't even get drafted.
Yeah.
They're in the G League and, trying to, play their way up. And I think that this is another instance here. And I think Edey finds his way maybe on a two-way or something like that, trying to figure out a way to make a major, the big team, not G League, but to be on a real contract. So,
yeah, in all honesty, man, obviously the NBA is changing.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Zach Edey, I really hope everything works out for him. I just don't know if there's a team right now who's really in desperate need of that dominant presence down low. But the thing that kind of throws me off too is people are like, oh, Donovan Clingan's a top 5, top 10 pick, and I'm like. Compare the stats, Donovan Clingan versus Zach Edey in the national championship.
Right.
And Clingan had like 14.
No, not to either of them.
They're both great players, dude. I love Clingan.
They both might suffer from the trajectory that the NBA is on, honestly. You could be like I said, Drew Timme is one of the best bigs we've seen in college basketball for the last 10, 15 years.
So good, dude.
And he doesn't get drafted. Oscar Tshiebwe was one of the best rebounders in college basketball history.
Yes.
Doesn't get drafted. So it wouldn't even surprise me if Clingan, I don't know, that's kind of crazy to even say top 5 because that's just
I know, that shows that it's a weak draft,
Clingan
man.
was out there shooting at 3, shooting 40%, 35%. Yeah, that's top 5, but no, that's an underinformed statement.
Yeah, well, I'm curious to see what's going to happen during the draft. But, enough about the draft. Let's finally talk about what everybody really wants to hear, which is the NBA playoffs. I love the playoffs because it's finally when you get to see the teams give 110%.
A sense of urgency. We love it.
We love a sense of urgency.
It means something to them. Like you can physically see it. Every play, every possession means something. You can see it.
Yeah, and again, like that you can tell by just the scores. The significantly lower scoring every single game. This was one of the highest. It might have been the highest scoring NBA season of all time. And then you're in the playoffs, and we got teams barely breaking 100.
Yeah,
but I love to see it.
Yeah.
I love to see it. And that's what, like, that's why I really didn't like watching the SEC this season is because. Freaking Alabama scoring 100 points. Now, during the March Madness, Alabama looked great, and I loved watching it. But I am just nothing makes me feel better than watching like a hard-fought defensive battle. Obviously, making clutch shots and shit. Like I don't want to see that state Virginia Tech game where it was like 46-28 or whatever. But, I like seeing a hard defensive battle, and that's what they're doing. They're playing physical. The refs are letting them play. Sometimes the refs are letting them play a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I've really enjoyed what I've seen from the NBA playoffs so far. Has there been a certain series or like a certain game that has stuck out to you in your viewing?
There's probably a couple. I think there's definitely a couple. I think Anthony Edwards' performance in Game 1, man, talk about I'm here. Talk about I'm on the scene. That's what he did. And I think that he's one of the up and coming stars who's going to be there to carry the league for years to come. That was just very impressive to me. The Lakers Nuggets series is man, it's one to watch, because in that second game you could argue that the Lakers played a perfect game and still lost. Yeah. And still to lose a 20-point lead in that fashion is just when everyone doesn't even think you're going to get a game in the series. It's tough. It's tough. So those are definitely two that stood out to me, and I'm honestly I like the Knicks 76ers series as well. I think it's just been a hard-fought battle. I don't even know what that series is. Oh, it's 2-0. Yeah, it's 2-0, but each
game's tight,
each
dude.
game, it could have went either way.
Yeah.
So I know Philly is not in panic mode right now, going back home, but there's some definitely good matches. I like the Cavaliers Magic matchup as well, but I think the Cavaliers look really good, and I think they're in a win or blow it up type of situation this year with the Cavaliers. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good series going on right now.
I just really want to say that whatever Jonte Porter did, Tobias Harris is doing it 10 times worse. It is hard to watch him play. Holy moly. Man, but I do want to say that Knicks 76ers matchup is one for the ages. Yeah. I love watching any game in the Garden, and I know for a fact that if the Knicks win this series, it's going to be a movie in New York City, man. I mean, I cannot wait to hear those fans. Yeah. But yeah, that's been a great matchup to watch. I've been really liking the Thunder Pelicans matchup as well. Yeah. Now, talking about the Thunder, obviously they're the youngest number 1 seed in NBA history. Do you think they still have a possibility? I mean, why am I saying still? But do you think they have a possibility to go to the finals or put up a fight or potentially win it?
I do. I think that they have a great chance at going to the conference finals, 1. And 2, they just look so impressive out there. Like, they have so many weapons. The guys, they are confident out there. And they just have one of the best players in the world, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The man, just he plays at his own pace. He does what he wants to out there, and the supporting cast is just there. They're young, they're athletic, they can shoot it. They got a 7-foot unicorn and Chet Holmgren. They just look so impressive to me. I probably watched the first half last night before I had to turn on my Game of Thrones. But yeah, I'm rewatching it right now.
I love that.
Top 2 show.
Hell yeah,
if you haven't tuned in, top 2 show ever. but yeah, the man, OKC and just Shai and those step backs and just, man, those guys. And I didn't even know. Look, that's how you know how out of tune I have been with the NBA season. And I didn't even know that they were a number 1 seed. I didn't even know the Magic were a 5 seed. Yeah. Like, since they haven't been a 5 seed since when? Dwight Howard? They haven't been close. So it's kind of fun to see some of these young teams that don't really go through the motions during the year. They got guys that want to play. They're hungry to be out there, and it's showing. It's showing. They got guys that are bought in, and if they get through this first round, who it's either the Clippers or the Mavericks. The Mavericks, I'm not sold. I don't think you can consistently win when you have your top 2 guys just shooting so many contested and tough shots, it's hard to sustainably win. And the Clippers, I just don't think that they'll have enough. Their core guys are just, they're older and, they can't help it, but, their bodies and they don't recover the same.
Yeah.
I think the Thunder have a great chance at going to the conference finals and then maybe even the NBA finals.
I do think that the Clippers, if the Clippers can make it past the Mavericks, I think they have a shot of beating the Thunder just because of the experience they have. I think that would be a really, really fun series to watch.
Yeah.
I do want to bring it over to the Eastern side. We got the Celtics and the Heat. Last night, Celtics were 14.5-point favorites, and they lose by 10.
Man.
Is the playoff trouble coming back for the Celtics?
I think the Heat playoff trouble are coming back on the Celtics. I just think that I don't know what it is with Boston and Miami, man. They just play them so tough every year, and I think a lot of it has to do with the Heat's culture. They're not one of the organizations that kind of just go through the motions. They allow their players to kind of do what they want to do. Or, I think that they embrace uncomfort in Miami. I think that they have built a culture of of defense and hustle and grittiness, and that is what wins. I feel like when it comes down to clutch playoff basketball. Because of injuries, I'm not sure if they will be able to get it done. But because of the groundwork that they've done throughout the whole year, I think it gives them a chance against any team because there's just no back down from the Heat. They know what they do. They know what they do best, and they play to their strengths. And they play the Celtics tough every time they match up, man. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to see, honestly.
So, right now, if you had to pick the two teams to make it to the NBA Finals, who are you picking?
I'm gonna go the Nuggets out of the West. I don't think that you can bet against the champs like that. And out of the East, I think it's wide open, especially when you see how the Heat play the Celtics. I don't think that there's a sure team in the East by far. But if I'm gonna pick one, I really want to see the Cavaliers. I want to see the Cavaliers. Yeah, I love Garland. D. Mitch is a killer. I think the bigs, the Mobley and Jared Allen? I love LeVert. I'm a Cavs fan. I don't know if they'll do it, but I think as a fan, I think it'll be cool to see. I like the guard play. I like the front court, back court. I think they got a good collection. So yeah. I
got you. For me, Western Conference, I think whoever wins this matchup, but I'm just gonna go out there and say it. I think Nuggets win. I think Wolves beat the Suns. I think whoever wins that matchup will make it to the finals, in my opinion. Yeah. I am going to follow you. I'm going to go with the Nuggets making it to the NBA Finals. And then on the Eastern side, I got two teams that I feel like could make it. I fuck with the Knicks hard. Mm-hmm. I do. And, Brunson's been playing like ass. And if he can, start to put it together, bro, and they're winning.
Right.
They're scary. They're really scary. Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah.
Dog.
Anobi, that was a great move. It was quiet, but it was a great move. Anobi is just does what he's asked to do. Yes. I think getting Barrett out of there was good. Barrett it's not to say he's not a good player, but I feel like he was more like an individual guy instead of like a team. I just want to win type of guy, and I think that's what they got in Anobi, just a team guy.
And my dark horse here, and it's not just because I'm from Indiana.
I like them.
I think the Pacers have a possibility to make a run. Yeah. Now, maybe they don't make it to the finals, but I do think they have a chance to make a run.
They do.
Just because I saw a graphic the other day. Pascal Siakam had his two first games were, I think, 30 and 10. 30 plus and 10 plus. The only other player to do that as what does he play? Power forward? He's still 4 or 5?
Yeah.
4
or 5.
Big. I think the last.
Lou Dort was playing 5 under last night.
The last big to do that in the NBA playoffs was. I got to fact check this. I saw a graphic about it was either Will or Kareem where they were the last person to do it, and they won the title that year.
Wow.
I'm big on trends, dude. When Purdue lost against FDU, I was like, yeah, they're gonna win the Natty next year. Obviously they didn't, but still they made it to the Natty, which is still impressive. So I'm a big trends guy.
I like the Pacers too, though, man. I think Halliburton, one of the best guards in the league. Pascal Siakam is a killer. I think that he could probably get at or score on any big in the league, especially, and he's definitely tough in a 4-game series. Like I think that they have a good collection of young guys that are just hungry. And I think that that's a low key where the league is shifting to, is because, man, like you see a lot of going through the motions a lot in the league just because there's just so many games, going city to city. And right now, I feel like the younger teams are just the ones that are just, I don't know, they're giving it just a little bit extra, just a little bit more. And, we'll see at the end what the end result is. But these younger teams, they're becoming very impressive.
Any last thoughts about the NBA before we transition? Or
Look, I like the Celtics. I like my boy Tatum. Jay Brown, one of your biggest fans. I would love to see him win. I just don't know. I mean, I hope so. I love Drew Holiday. I think great move and Porzingis. If they don't win, I think it'd just be one of the most underachieving years for the Celtics ever, to be honest. But I mean, we shall see.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. So last thing we're gonna talk about here, we got to talk about women's basketball, man. Made a huge surge this year, and honestly, I had a really good time watching it, man. I'm a huge men's college basketball fan, and the hype that got around women's this year, it got me, man, because they got some hoopers, dude. Yeah. They got some hoopers. Caitlin Clark won me a couple bets. That's what I love to see, man.
Hey, I can't do it. So.
Yeah. But the WNBA draft happened in, what was that, a week ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. Had over 2.4 million viewers, raised a whole 307% from the past season. The most viewed WNBA draft of all time. What is your thoughts on the future of women's basketball? This can be college and WNBA. How do you see this going, and are you pretty excited about it?
Yeah, I am pretty excited about it, and I think it's on the upward trajectory for sure. I think that this year was a very big year for women's sports, and I think that the players are kind of like, they've been begging for more recognition, a bigger audience and a bigger platform. And I think that the women's sports and the skill that they're showing is equivalent to what they're asking for. I think the female athleticism is at an all-time high. I think the skills at an all-time high. You got Caitlin Clark pulling up from the parking lot, and you got and not even her. I think the South Carolina girls, or even the freshmen that played for South Carolina this year, like the fact that they have to stay in the NCAA for 2 more years and play before they're eligible for the draft. I just think that there's so much to be excited for, and just the development, and again, just the athleticism. You got females dunking, and it's like, and it's becoming way more casual and normal, and that is, I wouldn't say it's scary, but it's definitely intriguing. And I think women's basketball, even me, like I was someone, and I'm not afraid to admit it, I didn't watch a lot of women's basketball last year, but this year I was one that got caught into the hype as well, and I was just so happy with what I saw, man. Yeah, the game is different. The way that they play the game is different, and I think a lot of people are starting to see and respect it more, and I think it's going to continue to get better. Players are going to continue to get more athletic, more skilled. I'm excited for where it goes, and I hope they change the rules soon too. Just maybe even 2 years, so some of these stars are in college can get and help elevate the WNBA, like what these stars are doing for college. And I think once that happens and, you know, they get a couple more teams in there, revenue goes up, you got more women thinking that they can actually make a career out of playing basketball. I think that it's only going to get better in that way as well.
Yeah, and you know, I love to see it, man. I really do. I think for the WNBA standpoint, where college basketball, women's basketball, is way more popular than the WNBA right now. So having Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Cardosa from South Carolina getting drafted this year, it's just going to bring the viewership way up. Yeah. They're talking about when the Indiana Fever go to play like some of these teams that they're going to not play in their regular home arena. They're going to have to move it to the NBA arenas.
Wow.
Because they know they're going to get people to come and watch Caitlin Clark. And that's the best part about it is shout out to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Thanks.
For last year, that beef between them, or fake beef or whatever you want to call it, that shit got the eyes on women's college basketball, and it got the eyes on women's basketball. And I think that it's definitely on an upward trajectory, and it's just going to get even bigger from here.
It's the personalities.
The personalities, man.
The media, the people, they love the personalities. And I think that is going to be big moving forward, I think, for women's basketball as well. It's just, like, promoting that. You know, I think that could be, you know, just a good, like, starting grounds just to build off of. And another thing that I would say about the WNBA, I think that something they can do better at is kind of just the platform that they put the girls on, because I just feel like I was able to access more college or women's college games than the WNBA, and I think that's honestly consistent with men's sports as well too. All these stars kind of that we watch in college, just like as soon as they get into the league, especially if they get drafted to a West Coast team from being from the East Coast, it's like you never see these guys anymore unless you pay I don't know how much the subscription
League Pass.
League Pass. You gotta have YouTube TV to have League Pass as well. So it's like the guys that we love watching every week in college. Just like they get to the league, and then now like we don't hear about them anymore until the playoffs, or we don't hear about them until they play the Lakers or they play the Suns. You know what I'm saying? And they're on TV. I think that giving the WNBA a bigger like media, I don't even say media platform, but like a platform for people to watch, or it's gonna help as well when it comes to like just garnering a bigger audience and just a bigger following in general.
Man, well said.
Yes, sir.
Well said. So before we wrap up, NFL draft tonight. I don't know if you pay attention to the NFL like that. I know this is a basketball podcast. Is there any storyline, anything? Or are you gonna even watch it, or are you gonna watch the NBA playoffs?
I might watch it. It might be on the side. Like I got a little monitor. I could probably throw it on. There's a couple of my guys that are surfacing. I hope my guy Trayvon Jones, safety from Minnesota. I hope someone picks him up, man. He's a talent. I haven't seen him since high school, and I know he was different. He was a different one. He played at Elon and then ended up transferring to Minnesota and doing basically the same things that he did at Elon. So it's different for the NFL draft. So many picks, so many spots on rosters. So I think it's gonna be a big night. I'm interested to see what the Eagles do. I think that they got a chance to really deepen their wide receiver room tonight. So we shall see.
Speaking of football, so obviously your coach now, Mike Morrell, helped get Mo Alley Cox to the NFL. He actually plays for my Indianapolis Colts. Have you ever thought about transitioning into a tight end or a wide receiver or a linebacker going to play football?
Yeah, I won't lie. I thought about it for sure. They used to call me prime time, Calvin Johnson, whatever you want to call it. They used to call me that. Like I literally have great hands. I'm I've always been fast. I got good footwork, and I think I wouldn't say I could easily go do it, but I could definitely go out to the field. Say I trained for like a couple months. I could be a force. I easily could be a force.
What position would you want to play?
I would play. I like tight end, but I could probably play if I put on some weight and really like focused on. I could probably play DN. Like
that would be scary, bro.
I lay that boom. Like I literally, man. I used to like when I played football. I used to like like tear kids up. Like even in practice, I used to knock people helmets off. Like just my aggression, it translated to football so well. I just love the contact sport. Even when I was running the ball, I would make the contact before people made contact with me. It was just kind of the way I was raised. I could definitely, and I think basketball players in general, I don't know if everyone will agree, but we're some of the best athletes in the world, and I think that it's easier. It's like easier to go from basketball to football than it is football to basketball, just because it's such like a skill gap that you know being able to put the ball in the hole and dribble the ball. I think just having to catch the ball and run and cut and block. I think that I could easily do it. And no shade.
If you had one NFL player to come and play in the NBA, who do you think it would be?
One NFL player, I think that.
Because I'll tell you mine right now, dude. I've seen Anthony Richardson.
Oh, was it in a celebrity game?
C.J. Stroud.
Oh, C.J. Stroud. There was another guy that was in a celebrity game, and he looked pretty good.
Dude, Miles Garrett. Miles Garrett is a big ass dude, and he can slam it down. Well, yeah, dude. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say.
Yeah, I think this was a good chat. Yeah. I'm excited to do it again, man. I think this is good. I love talking hoops, everything hoops, man. I love it.
Well, yeah, dude. Again, if you're gonna be here this summer, I'd love to continue to do this, guys. Mm-hmm. If you enjoy Gregg on the show, please put it down in the comment section. Please don't forget to like that. Click the like button. Subscribe to KPD Sports Media if you want more content like this. And if you agree or disagree with any of our takes, we'd love to hear your feedback. Yes, if you have any things that you can think of to improve the show, we'd love to hear that as well. But I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.